Hi, it's Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction. I have some books to share with you that I've been reading recently. I've got some book reviews. I film them as a kind of vlog style as I'm going along. These are Christian fiction books and one non-fiction. I have a cozy mystery, I have a theology book, and I have 2 historical fiction books to share with you. I finished listening to Secrets Between the Shelves by Cynthia, Hickey, Baten Johnson, Teresa, Ives, Lilly and Marilyn, Turk. This is a collection of 4 cozy mystery novellas that have some Christian content in them. They are all set to do with bookshops, libraries, that type of thing. I'm just going to briefly give you a heads up of what the stories are about very briefly and then tell you what I rated them. It's been a couple of weeks since I finished reading them and I've not had time to do a review, so my memory is not brilliant. But the first one is called Murder in the Mystery Section by Cynthia Hickey, and it is following Amber, who opens a new bookshop and tea room, but she draws rare book collectors to the store, and one of them ends up dead in the mystery section. So this one I gave a 8 out of 10 for story enjoyment rating and a 2 out of 3 for Christian faith rating. The second one was called The Secret Passage Bookshop by Baten Johnson, and this is following Lilly, whose pirate-themed bookshop fits right into harbour in Maine, but she never expected to find a young pirate dead on her shop's floor. This one I gave 8 out of 10 for story enjoyment rating. I couldn't remember when I wrote it down what the Christian faith rating was. I think there was a bit in there. The third one, By Hook or by Book by Teresa, Ives, Lilly, was about Abby, who opened Secret Passages bookshop in a Wyoming mountain town, not realising her historic building held a real secret passage and a missing teenager. And I gave that one story enjoyment rating of 9 out of 10 and Christian faith rating 2.5 out of 3. And the final one is called The Missing Chapter by Marilyn, Turk, and that is about Lauren, who moves to Florida and frequents the Seaside Books and Reading Room, where she is strangely attracted to the owner, who is suspected of killing his wife. And that one I gave 8.5 out of 10 for story enjoyment rating and 2.5 out of 3 for Christian faith rating. So my highest rating was for book 3, By Hook or by Book. I did enjoy all of them. I liked cozy mysteries. They all had a book theme. Some of them had more depth to them than others. They all had, quite interesting mysteries to go with them. You can't fit a huge amount into small spaces because they are novellas. You can't have everything. You can't have character development and mystery and romance and everything else going on. But for kind of fun, light enjoyment of reading them, I've mixed them in with other books as well. So yeah, I thought it was a good read. I'd probably give it overall 8 out of 10 and for story enjoyment, and overall 2 out of 3 for Christian faith rating. Yeah, I was glad to see there was quite a bit of Christian faith in there, not just a little bit here and there, so that was good. Another book that I finished reading recently, one that I've been reading throughout the whole of this year, is Reclaiming the Dark Ages, How the Gospel Light Shone from 500 to 1500 by Iain Wright and Yannick Imbert. This I thought was going to be more of a devotional book with sort of biographical details in it. It does have some sort of biography bits to it, but really it reads more like an academic book on church history and the history of church doctrine. So if you're into that, it might be interesting. It's quite short in that sense, so it flies through some different bits. Did fill in some gaps for me. I have done theology, academic theology in the past, so I was okay with it, but I think the way it's worded is there is a bit of jargon in there and not really a devotional type of book. So yeah, it was interesting, but not quite what I was looking for. So I probably give it about 7 out of 10 for enjoyment and what I got out of it. I finished reading The Highland Heist by Basham. This is book 4 in the Freddie and Grace Mysteries series. This is a series you definitely want to read in order because their sort of relationship continues throughout the books. They get to know each other in the first book because they are thrown together and end up as a couple, and the other books are sort of their honeymoon as they're going through, and they all have different mysteries contained in them. This one has its own mystery contained in it, but it does actually give complete spoilers, I think, for the other mysteries that have gone before, so you won't want to read this one before reading that one. But I can tell you about the mystery in this one. They are finally coming to the end of their honeymoon. They are going home. Frederick is taking Grace back to see her father, and when she gets there, the house has been taken over by new owners who find out why, and she has to go see her sister. When she gets to her sister's house, she finds her sister hovering over the body of her sister's husband with a knife, and she is suspected of murdering him. So that is how it sort of begins at the beginning. They have to try and solve that murder mystery. They have to try and solve they also have to try and get to Scotland because there is an inheritance that is available for them to claim if they can get there on time. And so there's all this mystery going on. They have to try and get there. There's a whole lot of things going on, working out who is behind it all and who is trustworthy. I didn't totally guess, I don't think, the answers to that. Some of it I guessed, some I was wondering if somebody else might be involved. Yeah, I thought it was a really great adventure story. I didn't get bored at any points. This one has no steamy bits that I was uncomfortable with. Some of the other ones, because they are a newlywed couple, it went a little bit steamy at times, but not anything on the page or anything, but because, they're married. But this one didn't go across the line for me at all in dwelling on that side of things. Some of the older characters from other books came back in, some get a mention. I really like that. I think the mystery was great. It really had a lot of twists and turns and suspense to it. Interesting locations, interesting characters, different things to be found out. And I liked the relationships with other characters. I did not like Grace's sister, Lilly, who starts off as quite snobbish and not particularly nice to Grace, and goes on her own sort of character journey through that. And they have a sort of a journey in their relationship as it goes through the book. There's a lot going on, and yeah, I think it was definitely worthwhile reading a good historical mystery. It does have some Christian content in there as well. They're definitely talking about God and Jesus and relating back to their faith and things. So I would give this one a 10 out of 10 for story enjoyment rating and a 2.5 out of 3 for Christian faith rating. The faith was there, strong when it was there, and it was sort of interspersed at odd times throughout the book. This book kind of brings the series in some ways to a conclusion, but in other ways it's left open for possible stories to occur with different characters. So I would really love to see another book in this series. I finished reading The Lost Heiress by Roseanna M. Wright. This is one of her earlier series. This is following Brooke, who lives in Monte Carlo in Monaco, and she has always thought that she was the illegitimate daughter of a prince there and the daughter of an opera singer, but she discovers that is not true, and so she sends her childhood friend Justin, or Justin as she pronounces it, to go to England to find out who her real father was. So he goes there and discovers that he thinks that she possibly is the long lost heiress to a lord over there. And so he takes her over there to meet her, what could be her father. Some of the people, when she gets there, like her and accept her. Other people, some of the servants, don't accept her at all, and she's having to try to adjust to all of that. There's also a whole mystery of how she ended up going missing, what happened to her mother, why she got separated from her father, and then there's sort of mystery and suspense elements that go through the book as well, leading on from that. This is also a romance, historical romance, so I should say it's set in 1910, and it is a romance between our main characters. They have a very tempestuous relationship. They have been friends their whole lives, and they fight a lot. They are at each other's throats, as it were. They seem to fall out an awful lot in the book, and also juggling whether they are really in love with each other. I really liked the mystery and suspense elements in this. I liked the time period. I loved the characters. Some of the romance, the tempestuous romance, I thought could have been resolved much more easily if they just, talk to each other at points. I think it was extended a bit longer than it needed to be, all of that. And the plot in the middle, I felt like was overextended and could have been condensed. This is quite a long book. I think it was about 430 pages for the story. And I think it could have been condensed a bit down in the middle. Having said that, I still really love Roseanna's writing and the complexity of all the different characters in there. We're introduced to some characters which I think will be in the other 2 books in the series. Yeah, I would say maybe more suspense elements rather than mystery, just because you sort of figure things out fairly early on, but then there's this suspense of how they're going to survive everything that's going on and work out what happened in the past. So the mystery is more to do with what happened to things in the past. I enjoyed the cultural elements of Monaco and her being from that country. I listened to the audiobook of this, so her accent was quite strong in that, which I may not have got from reading it myself. But yeah, it was a fun one to read and I enjoyed it a lot. There is quite a lot of good faith content in here. God is very much a part of this. They pray a lot, and the God speaking to them is a big part of their decision making. So that I really appreciated. So I would give it 3 out of 3 for Christian faith rating and 8.5 out of 10 for story enjoyment rating. Those are the books that I have read recently. Let me know if you've read any of those and what you thought of them in the comments. And if you can recommend any books, I would love to hear what you've been reading recently. If you would like to see any more videos about Christian fiction, you can watch these over here. In the meantime, have a great reading week. God bless.